In this tutorial, we're going to take a closer look at sending emails using our school Google account. It's a good time of the year, early on, to set some guidelines for sending well-written emails. Although you may not think that email is important when it comes to communicating, it is one of the only ways that within our school population that we can communicate with each other. And I'm speaking student to student and student to teacher, student to administrators, whatever. So we're going to talk about the proper etiquette behind composing an email. I've logged into Stephen Students Drive, and this will be a review for some of you, but this will also be important for students who are new to Bettendorf Middle School. I call this the grid up here. This is how you locate different parts of your Google app account. It always opens in Drive. So if we want to go to our mail, we just click the grid and choose mail. You can see that Stephen does have a little bit of a mess here in his Google account. One thing that you should do periodically is go through your mail, check for things like messages from the library or messages from other teachers or messages from other students, and basically clean it up. If there are emails that you don't need anymore, you have options for, if you click on, let's say this email, I don't want it anymore, I can put it in the trash. That's one option that I have. I can, if I think it's important and I want to keep it there, I can add a star to it. That means I've flagged it as an important piece of mail. I have some other things I can do. I can put a label on it. I can move it to a folder. So if you have emails that you're not quite ready to get rid of, you can certainly create a folder for it and move it there. You have the option of creating new folders, or you can use some of the suggested ones in your mail account. But like I said, we're going to talk today about composing an email. We're going to talk about email etiquette. The compose button is over here on the left. It's big and it's red or orange. And when you click that, you will get the new message window. And the nice thing about our school accounts is when you search for somebody, let's say you're searching for me, it autofills. So anybody who is a part of our Bettendorf School District domain, their names, their emails are stored within the system, so you don't have to know the exact email. It will autofill it for you. You can add more than one name in the to line. So let's say you were going to send it to another teacher. Let's say it was Mrs. Jesky. You can add another one. Now, because I don't want Mrs. Jesky to get a bunch of emails today, I'm going to take that off. Over here, if you've ever wondered about these, you can add these to your mail. CC stands for carbon copy, and that just means the email is not directly going to that person. It's more just an informational thing. But you wanted somebody to know what was in the message, so you can do what's called carbon copy them, or CC. BCC means a blind carbon copy, and that means that the other people don't know who's getting a copy of the email. But for our purposes today, I'm not going to CC anybody or carbon copy anybody. Now, the subject line, it's very important that you always put a subject in. If you ever get email messages that do not contain subject lines and you're not familiar with the name that sent it, you should never open them, because you could be subjecting your computer to a virus. So if you want people to read your emails, it's very important that you put together a well-composed, and I'm just going to put a little reminder here, because depending on what the subject or what's in the body of your message, that will determine your subject line. Well-composed subject. So let's say, for example, it was a question about a grade. Okay, so maybe your subject line would say, question regarding grade. Or maybe you had a question about a time for something. Time regarding event. Just make sure you have some sort of a well-composed subject line. And then the body of the email, the important thing to get across to you here is you are not sending a text message. It's not a text. It's almost like a little mini letter. And if it's a letter, you have to use correct grammar, capital letters, punctuation. If it's going to a teacher, you should have a greeting line followed by a punctuation mark. And when you're done writing it, you want to make sure that you have a closing to that. Maybe it's thank you, or maybe it's sincerely. But it's not it's not the same as sending a text. It needs to be more formal, especially if it's related to school. It doesn't have to be long though. Emails, the purpose of them is just short messages. If it's much over 5 sentences, people probably won't want to read it. And you will have some other things that you can do with your email, such as attachments and inserting things, and we'll talk about those in the upcoming tutorials for this assignment. So that is some of the etiquette that we need to keep in mind when we are sending emails.